The forest wants her blood. Ella can feel it in the way the branches clawed her skin, ripping through the thin fabric of her dress like eager fingers. Can taste it in the copper tang flooding her mouth from where she bit her tongue when she fell. Can hear it in the howls rising behind her 4 wolves closing the distance with every ragged breath she drags into her burning lungs. Run. Just run. Her bare feet slam against frozen earth, and pain explodes up her calves with each impact. The Blood Moon Forest doesn't forgive the weak. Everyone knows that. It's where packs send their criminals to die, where rogues feed on anything foolish enough to enter, where the trees themselves seem to lean in and watch as life drains away beneath their ancient roots. And she's been running through it for 2 days. The mark on her collarbone burns. That cursed silver crescent that's haunted her since birth, the one the shadow pine elders used to call an abomination. It's on fire now, searing into her skin like a brand being pressed deeper, hotter, more insistent. She clutches at it through her torn dress, fingers trembling, but the heat only intensifies. Behind her, a snarl splits the night. They're getting closer. Ella's heart hammers against her ribs so violently she thinks it might crack through bone. Her wolf, the one that's supposed to rise and protect her, the one that should have emerged 3 years ago during her first shift ceremony, remains silent. Absent. Sleeping or dead or maybe never there at all, just like the pack always said. Broken. Defective. Weak. The words chase her as viciously as the wolves at her back. A root catches her ankle and she goes down hard, palms shredding against stone and ice. For a moment, the world spins, dark sky, darker trees, the silver edge of moonlight cutting through the canopy like blades. Blood wells hot against her frozen hands. Get up. Get up, get up, get up. She scrambles forward on hands and knees, crawling, because standing feels impossible and stopping means dying. The howls crescendo into something triumphant. They smell her blood. They know she's falling apart. Her mind fractures, replaying the moment that led her here, the alpha's son convulsing at the feast table, foam bubbling from his lips, his finger pointing directly at her as guards closed in. The vial they found in her cabin, wolfsbane and nightshade, a poison she'd never seen before but that somehow wore her scent. The trial that lasted less than an hour. The sentence delivered with cold satisfaction by Luna Catherine, who'd always looked at Ella like she was something rotting. Exile to Blood Moon Forest. Effective immediately. May the goddess have mercy on your wretched soul. Mercy. As if the goddess had ever shown her any. Ella forces herself upright, stumbling forward even as her vision blurs. The forest is alive with movement now, shadows peeling away from trees, low growls vibrating through the air, the sound of paws thundering across frozen ground. She can feel them surrounding her, cutting off every escape route, herding her deeper into the darkness. A cliff. She's running toward a cliff. She sees it too late, the ground simply ends, dropping away into a ravine she can't see the bottom of. She skids to a halt, rocks crumbling beneath her feet, arms windmilling as gravity tries to claim her. The wolves emerge from the tree line. 4 of them. Rogues, by the look of their matted fur and wild eyes. The largest one, a brute with a scarred muzzle, takes a step forward. Then another. His lips peel back from yellow fangs, and a sound rumbles from his chest that makes every instinct in Ella's body scream. She's going to die here. 22 years old, and this is how it ends, hunted like prey alone, with no one to mourn her because the only pack she ever knew wanted her dead anyway. Her legs shake so badly she can barely stand. The mark on her collarbone pulses with heat that makes her gasp. The scarred wolf lunges. Time fractures into slow motion. She sees his muscles bunch, sees him leave the ground, sees the moonlight catch on his teeth as his jaws open wide enough to crush her throat. She throws her arms up instinctively, uselessly, knowing it won't matter. And then the world explodes. Not with sound. With pressure. Something detonates from inside her chest, a shockwave of pure power that slams outward in every direction. The air turns white-hot. The wolves yelp and scatter, thrown backward like leaves in a hurricane. Trees groan and crack. The ground beneath her feet trembles. Ella collapses to her knees, gasping, as silver light pours from her skin, from her hands, her arms, the mark on her collarbone blazing so bright it hurts to look at. She can feel something stirring inside her, something vast and ancient and furious, uncurling from where it's been sleeping for far too long. Her wolf. But it doesn't feel like the wolves she's seen others shift into. This feels bigger. Older. Wrong in a way that makes her bones ache and her blood sing. The rogues are scrambling away now, whimpering, tails tucked as they retreat into the shadows. But they're not looking at her. They're looking behind her. Ella turns slowly, every muscle screaming. A man stands at the edge of the clearing. No, not just a man. An alpha. She can feel it in the weight of his presence, in the way the very air seems to bend around him. He's tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in dark clothing that makes him look like he's been carved from the night itself. His eyes catch the moonlight and throw it back in shades of gold and amber that shouldn't be possible. And he's staring directly at her. "Ella," he says, and his voice is low, rough, like gravel wrapped in silk. He knows her name. Her heart stutters. Her breath catches. The silver light, still dancing across her skin, flickers and fades, leaving her cold and exposed and more terrified than she was moments ago facing the rogues. Because whoever this man is, whatever he is, he's been looking for her. And she has no idea why. "You need to come with me," he says, taking a step closer. Now. Every instinct tells her to run. To throw herself off the cliff behind her if that's what it takes. But her body won't move. The mark on her collarbone burns hotter, responding to his presence in a way that makes her skin prickle. "Who are you?" she manages to whisper. His jaw tightens. For a moment, something that might be pain flickers across his features. "Someone who's been searching for you for a very long time," he says quietly. "And if you want to survive the night, you'll trust me." The rogues are regrouping in the shadows. She can hear them circling, emboldened by her weakness. More howls rise in the distance, reinforcements coming. The stranger extends his hand. Ella stares at it. At him. At the impossible choice being offered in the middle of a forest that wants her dead. Behind her, the cliff and certain death. Around her, wolves that will tear her apart. In front of her, a man who knows her name and carries secrets in his eyes. She reaches out, trembling, and places her bloody hand in his. His fingers close around hers, warm, strong, steady, and the world tilts. "Hold on," he murmurs. Then everything goes dark. If you love this beginning and want to know what happens when Ella wakes up in the Alpha King's territory, subscribe to Cindy's Wolfheart stories. Because we're just getting started. Ella wakes to warmth. It's the first thing her mind registers, heat seeping into her frozen bones, soft fabric against her shredded skin, the crackle of fire somewhere close. For one confused moment, she thinks she's back in her cabin at Shadowpine, that the last 3 days were just a nightmare. Then the pain hits. Every muscle screams. Her feet throb where the forest tore them open. Her hands burn where she caught herself falling. And the mark on her collarbone pulses with a steady, insistent heat that feels almost alive. She forces her eyes open. Stone walls. A fire burning in a massive hearth. Furs piled on the bed she's lying in, actual furs, thick and luxurious, nothing like the thin blanket she had back home. The room is simple but solid, built from dark wood and gray stone, with narrow windows that show nothing but black sky and starlight. She's not in Blood Moon Forest anymore. "You're awake." Ella jerks upright, instantly regretting it as pain lances through her ribs. He's standing by the window, the man from the forest, his silhouette backlit by moonlight. Up close, he's even more imposing, taller than any wolf she's ever seen, with broad shoulders and a presence that fills the entire room. His dark hair is slightly too long, falling across his forehead in a way that softens features otherwise carved from granite. But his eyes, they're what stop her breath. Gold and amber and something else, something that seems to see straight through her. Where am I? Her voice comes out raw, broken. The Northern Realm. My territory. He doesn't move from the window. You're safe here. Safe. The word feels foreign. She hasn't been safe in 3 years. Maybe longer. Who are you? She asks again, because he never answered in the forest. He's quiet for a long moment, studying her in a way that makes her skin prickle. Finally, he speaks. Harvey. Alpha King of the Northern Packs. The air leaves her lungs. Alpha King. She's heard the stories every wolf has. The Northern Realm is the largest, most powerful pack territory in existence, stretching across mountains and valleys that other alphas fear to enter. And Harvey is the wolf who rules it all, the alpha so dominant that even other pack leaders lower their eyes in his presence. And she's lying in his bed, wearing nothing but a thin shift someone must have dressed her in while she was unconscious. Ella's hands clutch the furs, pulling them higher. Why did you bring me here? Because you would have died if I hadn't. That's not an answer. Something flickers in his expression, surprise, maybe, that she's pushing back. Most wolves would be cowering by now, submitting to an alpha of his rank. But Ella has been called broken and worthless for so long that fear of authority feels distant compared to everything else. Harvey moves then, crossing the room with a predator's grace. He stops at the edge of the bed, close enough that she can see the tension in his jaw, the shadows under his eyes that suggest he hasn't slept. I've been looking for you for 2 years, he says quietly. Ever since I heard rumors of an Omega in Shadowpine Pack who bore the mark of the moon's first daughter. Her hand flies to her collarbone, covering the silver crescent instinctively. That's just a scar. A birthmark. The elders said. The elders lied. His voice is flat, certain. That mark is a bloodline signature. It means you're descended from the original royal line, the wolves who ruled before the packs fractured. Ella shakes her head, pulling back. No, that's not possible. I'm nobody. My parents were nobodies. I don't even have a wolf. You have a wolf. The certainty in his voice stops her cold. I felt her in the forest, Harvey continues, his eyes locked on hers. When those rogues attacked and you thought you were going to die, something inside you woke up. I felt the power ripple through the entire territory. Every wolf in a 50-mile radius felt it. The memory crashes back, silver light pouring from her skin, that vast presence stirring in her chest, the way the world itself seemed to bend around her. I don't understand, she whispers. Harvey crouches down, bringing himself to her eye level. This close, she can see the gold flecks in his eyes, can smell pine and winter wind and something darker, wilder. Your wolf isn't like others, Ella. She's ancient. Royal. She needed time to fully develop, and your pack suppressed her by convincing you that you were broken. His voice drops lower, rough with something that might be anger. They kept you weak on purpose. Because if you'd ever awakened fully, you would have been unstoppable. Her throat tightens. 3 years of shame, of mockery, of believing she was defective, and he's saying it was all a lie? Why would they do that? Fear. Harvey's jaw clenches. The prophecy says that when the silver wolf awakens, she'll either unite the packs or destroy them. Your old alpha knew what you were. He wanted you powerless. Prophecy. Silver wolf. Royal bloodline. The words spin through her head, making no sense. I don't want any of this, she says, hating how her voice shakes. I just want to be left alone. Something like pain crosses Harvey's face. He reaches out slowly, carefully, and his hand hovers near hers, not touching, just offering. I know what it's like, he says quietly, to carry power you never asked for. To have everyone either fear you or try to use you. To wonder if you'll ever just be yourself. Ella stares at his hand, at the scars across his knuckles, at the steadiness in his fingers despite the intensity in his eyes. Why do you care? She whispers. What do you want from me? Harvey's expression shifts into something raw, unguarded. The Northern Realm has been under attack for months. Shadow beasts crossing our borders, rogues organizing in ways they never have before, old magic stirring that should have stayed buried. And every prophecy, every vision, every sign points to one thing: you. You're the key to stopping it. I can't stop anything. I'm not weak. His voice cuts through her protest like a blade. Not broken. Not an omega. His hand finally closes over hers, warm and solid. You're the most powerful wolf I've ever encountered. And I need you to start believing that. The mark on her collarbone flares hot where his skin touches hers. Ella's breath catches as something pulses between them, not quite a bond, but close. Recognition. Like two pieces of something broken finally clicking into place. Harvey feels it too. She can see it in the way his pupils dilate, the way his breath hitches. What is this? She asks. He pulls back quickly, standing, putting distance between them. When he speaks again, his voice is carefully controlled. Get some rest. We'll talk more in the morning. He's halfway to the door when she speaks. Harvey. He stops, doesn't turn. Thank you, she says quietly, for saving me. His shoulders tense. Then he's gone, the door closing softly behind him, leaving Ella alone with the fire and the furs and the terrifying, impossible truth settling into her bones. She's not broken. She never was. And somehow, that's even more frightening than believing the lie. Ella doesn't sleep. She lies in the massive bed, staring at the ceiling, while memories claw their way to the surface, memories she's spent 3 years trying to bury. The first shift ceremony. She was 19, standing in the sacred circle with 7 other wolves her age, the entire Shadow Pine pack gathered to watch. The moon had been full and heavy, and every young wolf around her had begun to change, bones cracking, fur rippling across skin, their first howls splitting the night. But Ella had just stood there, trembling, waiting for something that never came. The whispers started immediately. By morning, they'd become shouts. Defective. Broken. Cursed. The elders examined her, poked and prodded, made her stand naked in front of the council while they debated what to do with an Omega who couldn't shift. Some argued for exile then and there. Others said she could stay if she accepted the lowest rank servant, essentially, to any wolf who needed one. Luna Catherine, the Alpha's mate, had smiled when she delivered the verdict. You may stay, Ella, but you will never be Pack. You will never be worthy. And you will remember, every single day, exactly what you are: nothing. 3 years of that. 3 years of sleeping in the smallest cabin at the edge of territory. 3 years of eating last, speaking only when spoken to, enduring casual cruelty from wolves who'd once been her friends. 3 years of believing, truly believing, that something inside her was fundamentally wrong. And now Harvey is saying it was all a lie. The mark on her collarbone burns, and Ella presses her palm against it. She remembers when it first appeared. She was 7 years old, and she'd woken up screaming because it felt like someone was branding her. Her mother had held her, whispered soothing words, but there'd been fear in her eyes. 2 weeks later, her parents were dead. Rogue attack, the pack said. Wrong place, wrong time. Ella had always wondered if that was true. She slides out of bed, her feet hitting cold stone. Someone left clothes for her, simple pants and a tunic, soft leather boots. She dresses slowly, every movement pulling at bruises and cuts, and makes her way to the window. The northern realm spreads out below, vast and wild. Mountains rise in jagged peaks against the starlit sky. Forests stretch dark and dense. And somewhere out there, in a territory she can barely comprehend, wolves live who might be looking to her as some kind of savior. The thought makes her laugh, a sharp, bitter sound. How can she save anyone when she can't even save herself? A knock at the door makes her jump. Come in, she calls, expecting Harvey. Instead, a woman enters, small, fierce-looking, with auburn hair braided down her back and eyes that assess Ella in one quick sweep. I'm Astrid, she says without preamble. The king's second. He asked me to check on you. King. Right. Because Harvey isn't just an alpha, he's royalty. I'm fine, Ella lies. Astrid's mouth quirks. You're a terrible liar. She moves to the table, setting down a tray of food, bread, cheese, dried meat, fruit. Eat. You need your strength. Ella's stomach growls traitorously, and she realizes she hasn't eaten in days. She sits, tearing into the bread with shaking hands. Astrid watches her, something almost like sympathy in her expression. He told me what happened to you. At Shadowpine. Ella stiffens. I don't want pity. Good. I'm not offering any. Astrid leans against the wall, arms crossed. But I'll tell you this, Harvey doesn't rescue random wolves. He barely leaves this territory anymore. The fact that he went into Blood Moon Forest to find you? That means something. It means he thinks I'm useful, Ella says flatly. It means he thinks you're important. Astrid's eyes narrow. There's a difference. Ella wants to argue, but exhaustion is catching up to her. Her hands tremble around the bread. The mark, she says quietly. What does it really mean? Astrid is quiet for a long moment. When she speaks, her voice is careful. The moon's first daughter was the original Alpha, the mother of all packs. Legend says her power was absolute. She could command any wolf with a word, could shift the land itself, could see the future and the past all at once. She pauses. When she died, her bloodline scattered. Most lines died out. But some survived, hidden, waiting. Waiting for what? For someone strong enough to carry the full weight of her power without being destroyed by it. The words settle over Ella like a shroud. She thinks of the silver light in the forest, the way power had exploded from her chest, the feeling of something vast waking up inside her. What if I can't control it? She whispers. Astrid's expression softens slightly. Then Harvey will help you learn. That's why he's been searching for you. Why does he care? The question hangs in the air. Astrid looks away, something complicated crossing her face. Because he knows what it's like to be powerful and alone, she finally says. And because the prophecy says you're the only one who can stop what's coming. Before Ella can ask what that means, Astrid straightens. Rest. Tomorrow, training begins. She's gone before Ella can protest. Alone again, Ella finishes eating mechanically, her mind spinning. She returns to the window, staring out at this strange new territory that's supposed to be safe. But safety has always been an illusion for her. The mark burns hotter, and deep inside her chest, she feels that presence stir, her wolf, real and undeniable, no longer sleeping. And for the first time in her life, Ella wonders, what if everything they said about her was wrong? What if she's not weak at all? What if she's exactly what everyone always feared? Harvey comes for her at dawn. Ella is already awake, has been for hours, pacing the room like a caged animal. When he opens the door, she's standing by the window, arms wrapped around herself, and the look on her face makes something in his chest tighten. It's time, is all he says. She doesn't ask where they're going. Just follows him through corridors of stone and wood, down staircases that spiral deeper than she expected, past wolves who stop and stare as she passes. Some lower their eyes in respect. Others watch with barely concealed suspicion. She keeps her gaze forward, focusing on Harvey's broad back, on the steady confidence in his stride. They emerge into cold morning air, and Ella's breath mists in front of her face. The sun is just beginning to crest the mountains, painting everything in shades of gold and amber. Harvey leads her away from the main compound, into the forest that borders his territory. They walk in silence for almost an hour. The deeper they go, the older the trees become, massive things with trunks wider than houses, their branches so thick they block out most of the light. The air changes too, growing heavier, charged with something Ella can't name. Magic. Old magic. Her mark begins to pulse in rhythm with her heartbeat. Finally, Harvey stops. They're standing before what looks like a wall of solid rock, covered in vines and moss. But as Ella stares, she realizes there are symbols carved into the stone, ancient script that seems to writhe and shift when she's not looking directly at it. What is this place? She whispers. The Shrine of First Moon. Harvey's voice is reverent. where the original packs came to commune with the goddess. No one's been able to enter for 200 years. He reaches out, pressing his palm against the stone. Nothing happens. Then he steps back and looks at Ella expectantly. Her throat goes dry. You want me to touch it? Every instinct screams at her to refuse. But something deeper pulls her forward, that presence inside her chest, her wolf, stirring with something that feels almost like eagerness. Ella raises her hand, trembling, and places her palm against the cold stone. The world explodes into light. Silver fire erupts from the mark on her collarbone, racing down her arm, pouring into the stone. The symbols flare to life, burning so bright she has to look away. The ground shakes. The air splits with a sound like thunder, and the wall simply dissolves. Behind it, a cave, vast and cathedral-like, its walls covered in more of those writhing symbols. But at the center stands an altar of white stone, and above it, suspended in midair by nothing visible, floats a sphere of pure silver light. Ella stumbles forward, drawn by something she can't resist. Harvey follows close behind, his presence a steady anchor as the power in the cave threatens to overwhelm her. The light pulses in time with her mark. What is that? She breathes. The moon's heart. Harvey's voice is hushed, awed. Legend says it contains a fragment of the first daughter's power. That only her true heir can approach it without being destroyed. Ella wants to stop, wants to turn and run, but her feet carry her forward. Closer. Closer. Until she's standing directly beneath the sphere, bathed in silver radiance that makes her skin glow and her bones ache. Then she hears it. A voice. Female. Ancient. Speaking directly into her mind. Child of my line. Daughter of moonlight and shadow. You have been asleep too long. Ella gasps, pressing her hands to her temples. Who? I am the first. The beginning. The one who shaped wolves from starlight and gave them dominion over the wild places. The voice is everywhere and nowhere, gentle yet absolute. And you carry my blood in your veins, Silver One. I don't understand, Ella whispers. Why me? I'm nobody. You are everything. The prophecy spoke of your coming, the wolf born beneath a dark moon, bearing my mark, whose power would either unite or shatter what remains of my children. The sphere descends, drifting lower until it hovers just above Ella's outstretched hands. The darkness is rising. Shadow and blood seek to tear apart the balance I created. Only you can stand between the world and its ending. I can't, Ella says, shaking her head frantically. I don't know how. I'm not strong enough. You're stronger than you know. Your wolf is my wolf, child. Let her rise. The sphere touches Ella's palms. Power detonates through her body like lightning. She screams, or thinks she does, but the sound is lost in the roar of energy flooding every cell. Silver light pours from her skin, her eyes, the mark on her collarbone blazing like a star. She feels her wolf surge forward, not emerging fully, not yet, but present in a way she's never been before. Vast, ancient, powerful beyond measure. Images flash through her mind, wolves bowing before a silver-furred queen. Battles fought under blood moons. A darkness rising from beneath the earth, hungry and endless. And at the center of it all, herself, transformed, terrible, beautiful, standing between destruction and salvation. The vision releases her. Ella collapses, and Harvey catches her before she hits the ground. His arms close around her, solid and warm, and she clings to him as the power settles into her bones. What did you see? His voice is rough against her ear. She can't speak. Can't find words for the enormity of what just happened. But when she finally looks up at him, she knows her eyes must be different, silver where they used to be brown, glowing with residual power. Harvey stares at her, and something raw crosses his face. Wonder. Fear. Something else she can't name. The prophecy is real, she whispers. It's all real. He nods slowly. I know. I'm supposed to save everyone. Yes, but I don't know if I can. Harvey's grip tightens. His gold eyes burn into hers with an intensity that steals her breath. Then I'll teach you. We'll figure it out together. Together. The word feels foreign. Ella has been alone for so long she's forgotten what it means to have someone stand beside her. But as they leave the shrine, as the cave seals itself behind them and the forest falls quiet, she realizes something has fundamentally changed. Not just her power awakening. Not just the prophecy becoming real. She's starting to believe that maybe, just maybe, she's worth saving too. And that's more terrifying than any destiny the goddess could have planned. The Northern Realms Council Chamber is carved from a single massive stone, its walls etched with the names of every alpha who has ruled these lands. Torches burn in iron sconces, casting dancing shadows across the faces of the wolves gathered around the long table. Ella stands beside Harvey, acutely aware that every eye in the room is fixed on her. There are 12 of them, the Alpha's inner circle, his most trusted advisors and warriors. Astrid sits to Harvey's right, her expression carefully neutral. The others range from curious to openly hostile, their bodies tense, their wolves close to the surface. "This is a mistake," says a massive wolf with gray streaking his dark hair. His name is Garrick, and he's been glaring at Ella since she entered. "You bring an outsider into our territory, claim she's some prophesied savior, and expect us to simply accept it?" "I expect you to trust my judgment," Harvey says, his voice dangerously quiet. "Your judgment?" Garrick stands, his chair scraping against stone. "You've been obsessed with finding this girl for 2 years, neglecting your duties, weakening our defenses. Our defenses are stronger than they've ever been." Harvey's eyes flash gold. "And you will show respect when speaking of Ella." The use of her name, the protection in his tone, makes something warm and terrifying unfurl in Ella's chest. Garrick's lip curls. Respect? For an Omega who couldn't even shift until 3 days ago? For a wolf whose own pack exiled her as a criminal? The words hit like physical blows. Ella's hands clench at her sides, nails digging into her palms. "I was framed," she says quietly. "So you claim." A woman with ice-blonde hair leans forward. "But we only have your word for that. For all we know, you did poison the Alpha Sun. For all we know, you're a threat to this pack as well." Enough. Harvey's power floods the room, making the torches flicker and every wolf flinch. Ella opened the Shrine of First Moon. She carries the mark of the moon's first daughter. The prophecy. The prophecy, Garrick interrupts, speaks of destruction as much as salvation. She will either unite the packs or shatter them. Those are the words, are they not? Silence falls, heavy and suffocating. What if she's the danger we're supposed to be guarding against? Garrick continues, his voice rising. What if bringing her here dooms us all? Ella feels the mark on her collarbone begin to burn. Her wolf stirs, responding to the aggression in the room, and she has to fight to keep her breathing steady. The shadow beasts are multiplying. Astrid cuts in, her voice calm but firm. The rogue attacks are organized and strategic. Old magic is waking that we don't understand. We need her power, whether you like it or not. Or, another council member says slowly, we eliminate the threat before it can destroy us. Send her back to wherever she came from. Let another pack deal with the consequences. Harvey moves so fast Ella doesn't see it. One moment he's standing beside her, the next, he has the speaker pinned against the wall, forearm across his throat. Say that again, Harvey growls, and his voice is pure alpha, the kind that makes lesser wolves bare their throats in submission. Suggest abandoning her one more time, and I will remove you from this council permanently. The room erupts. Half the council surges to their feet, shouting. Some defending Harvey, others condemning him for threatening pack members over an outsider. The noise builds, anger and fear and territorial instinct all colliding. And Ella stands frozen in the center of it, watching everything fall apart because of her. Because she exists. Because she dared to survive. The mark burns hotter. Her wolf pushes against her skin, growling, wanting to emerge and prove she's not weak. Enough. The word tears from her throat with more power than she intended. Silver light explodes outward from her body, and every wolf in the room is slammed back into their chairs, held there by invisible force. Silence crashes down. Ella stands alone, light pouring from her hands, her eyes blazing silver, and she can feel her wolf so close to the surface that fur ripples beneath her skin. "You want to know if I'm dangerous?" Her voice shakes but carries. "Yes, I am. I'm terrified of what I might become, of what this power might do. But you know what's more dangerous? Turning on each other while something worse is coming for all of us." She releases them, and the light fades. Her hands are shaking violently. "I didn't ask for this," she continues quietly. "I didn't ask to be some prophesied savior or to carry a power I don't understand. I was happy being nobody, being invisible. But I'm here now, and I'm trying, and if you can't see that, if all you can see is something to fear, then maybe you're the ones who aren't strong enough to face what's coming." The words hang in the air. Garrick is the first to speak, his voice grudgingly respectful. "Maybe I underestimated you." "You did," Astrid says flatly. Harvey moves back to Ella's side, and she can feel the tension radiating from him. His hand brushes hers briefly, a silent gesture of solidarity that makes her throat tight. "The council will adjourn," he says, his tone brooking no argument. "We reconvene tomorrow, and I expect civil discussion about how we move forward. Together." The wolves file out slowly, casting glances at Ella that range from wary to curious to something that might be grudging acceptance. When they're alone, Harvey turns to her. "Are you all right?" Ella laughs, and it sounds slightly unhinged. "I just used magic I don't understand to throw a room full of powerful wolves around like toys. I'm really not all right." His expression softens. "You were magnificent. I was terrifying. That too." He reaches up slowly, giving her time to pull away, and cups her face in his hand. His thumb brushes across her cheekbone, and the gentleness of it nearly breaks her. "But you stood your ground. You showed them you're not someone to dismiss. They hate me. They fear you. There's a difference." His gold eyes search hers. "And fear can become respect, given time." Ella wants to believe him. But all she can think about is Garrick's words. What if she's the danger we're supposed to be guarding against? What if he's right? The thought must show on her face because Harvey's grip tightens. "Don't," he says firmly. "Don't let them make you doubt yourself." "How can I not? I don't even know who I am anymore." "Then we'll figure it out." He leans closer, and his voice drops to something intimate, meant only for her. "You're not alone in this, Ella. I meant what I said. We face this together. Together." That word again. Ella closes her eyes, leaning into his touch for just a moment, letting herself take comfort from his steadiness. Then reality crashes back. A howl splits the night, desperate, terrified, cut short. Harvey's head snaps toward the window. The eastern border. Another howl. Then screaming. They're running before conscious thought, bursting from the council chamber, down corridors, out into the night. Other wolves join them, Astrid, Garrick, dozens of warriors responding to the alarm. The eastern border is chaos. Shadow beasts pour through a breach in the magical wards that protect the territory, creatures made of darkness and nightmare, with too many teeth and eyes that glow sickly green. They're tearing through the patrol wolves, and the scent of blood fills the air. "Form defensive lines." Harvey roars, and his voice carries the weight of absolute command. "Protect the civilians." He shifts mid-stride, bones cracking and reforming, until a massive black wolf stands where the man was. He's easily twice the size of any normal wolf, his fur shot through with silver, his eyes burning gold. The Alpha King in his true form. He launches himself at the nearest shadow beast, fangs finding purchase in something that should be incorporeal, but somehow bleeds. Ella stumbles to a halt, overwhelmed. Wolves are shifting all around her, charging into battle, and she doesn't know what to do, how to help. A shadow beast breaks through the line. It's heading straight for a group of children being evacuated, their eyes wide with terror. Time slows. Ella's wolf surges forward with such force that she gasps. Power floods her veins, the same silver fire that opened the shrine, but focused now, purposeful. She doesn't think. Just runs toward the beast, and as she does, her body begins to change. The shift is nothing like she imagined. It doesn't hurt. It feels like coming home. Silver fur ripples across her skin. Her bones reshape themselves with fluid grace. And then she's running on 4 legs instead of 2, faster than she's ever moved, and the wolf inside her is singing with joy. She hits the shadow beast at full speed, and silver fire explodes from her jaws. The creature shrieks and dissolves into smoke. Ella skids to a halt in front of the children, placing herself between them and the battle. And as she stands there, for glowing silver in the moonlight, she feels it. Every wolf on the battlefield turning to look at her. Even the shadow beasts pause, their attention drawn by something they recognize as ancient and powerful. Harvey shifts back to human form, standing in the carnage, staring at her with an expression she can't read. The silver wolf, someone whispers. The prophecy is real. And in that moment, Ella realizes there's no going back. No pretending to be nobody. No hiding from what she is. The shadow beasts surge forward again, and she meets them with teeth and fire, fighting beside an alpha king who looks at her like she might be the answer to every question he's been afraid to ask. But even as they drive the creatures back, even as they seal the breach and tend to the wounded, Ella knows this is only the beginning. The world has seen her now, and it will never let her go. The battle leaves 12 wounded and 3 dead. Ella helps carry bodies back to the compound, her silver fur stained with blood that isn't hers. When she finally shifts back to human form, instinctively, easily, like her wolf has always been there waiting, she's shaking so badly her legs won't hold her. Harvey catches her before she falls. "I've got you," he murmurs, and lifts her into his arms like she weighs nothing. She should protest. Should insist she can walk. But exhaustion crashes over her in waves, and she finds herself pressing her face against his chest, breathing in his scent, pine and winter, and something uniquely him that makes her wolf settle. He carries her past staring wolves, past the wounded being tended, into his private quarters. Not the guest room she stayed in before. His room. The fire is already burning when he sets her down on a chair near the hearth. Someone, Astrid, probably has left clean clothes and water. Harvey crouches in front of her, his hands gentle as he examines her for injuries. "I'm fine," Ella says, though her voice shakes. "I heal fast, I think. Since the shift. You were extraordinary out there." His fingers brush a cut on her shoulder that's already closing. "You saved those children. Destroyed 4 shadow beasts on your own. The warriors are calling you the Silver Guardian. I don't want a title." She laughs weakly. "I just didn't want anyone else to die." Harvey's jaw tightens. 3 still did. Good wolves. Because I couldn't seal the breach fast enough. The pain in his voice makes her chest ache. She reaches out without thinking, her hand covering his. "That's not your fault. I'm their alpha. Their deaths are always my fault." He looks up at her, and the raw guilt in his expression nearly breaks her. "Every wolf I lose, I carry with me. Their names. Their families. The things they'll never get to do." Ella slides from the chair onto her knees, bringing herself to his level. "You can't save everyone, Harvey. No one can. Not even an alpha king. But you could." His hand turns, gripping hers tightly. "Your power, what you did tonight, if you were at full strength, if you knew how to wield it." "I'd what?" "Save the world." She shakes her head. "I'm still figuring out how to save myself." They're so close now, kneeling face to face in the firelight, and Ella can see every shadow in his eyes, every scar on his skin that tells stories of battles fought and survived. "Tell me about them," she says quietly. "The wolves you lost tonight." Harvey blinks, surprised. "Why?" "Because they mattered. Because you're carrying them alone and you don't have to." Something in his expression cracks open. And then he's talking, telling her about Torin, who had a mate and 2 cubs waiting for him. About Vivian, who loved to sing and made everyone laugh. About Kalen, who was only 23 and wanted to be a healer. Ella listens, holding his hand, letting him grieve in a way she suspects he rarely allows himself. When he finally falls silent, she speaks. I'm sorry. For all of it. For not being strong enough yet to make a difference. Don't. His free hand comes up to cup her face. You made a difference tonight. Those children are alive because of you. 3 others aren't. And that's on the shadow beasts. On whoever is sending them. His thumb strokes her cheek. Not on you. The tenderness in his touch, in his voice, makes something inside her shift. She's so used to cruelty, to coldness, that simple gentleness feels revolutionary. Why are you being so kind to me? She whispers. Harvey's expression turns complicated. Because you deserve kindness. Because you've been denied it for too long. Because he stops himself, jaw clenching. Because what? He's quiet for a long moment. Then, come with me. There's something I want to show you. He stands, offering his hand. Ella takes it, letting him pull her to her feet. He leads her through a door she hadn't noticed, onto a balcony that overlooks the entire northern realm. The view steals her breath. Mountains stretch endlessly under a star-filled sky. Forests spread like dark oceans. And far below, the lights of the pack compound glow warm against the cold night. This is what I'm responsible for, Harvey says quietly. Every wolf in this territory. Every family. Every child. He turns to her. I've been Alpha King for 8 years. Since I was 19. My father died in a challenge, and I inherited a realm on the brink of civil war. Ella stares at him. You were just a kid. I was an alpha. Age doesn't matter when the pack needs leadership. His hands grip the railing. I spent the first 3 years just holding everything together. Fighting challenges. Proving I was strong enough. By the time things stabilized, I realized I'd become someone I barely recognized. Someone who only knew how to be hard. Cold. Untouchable. The vulnerability in his admission makes her throat tight. Then 2 years ago, I heard rumors about an Omega with a silver mark who couldn't shift. And something about the story caught me. A girl declared broken when she was anything but. A power sleeping, waiting. He looks at her, and his eyes are molten gold. I've been searching for you ever since. Not because of the prophecy. Not because I need your power to save my realm. Then why? Because I wanted to find you before someone else broke you completely. His voice drops to something raw. Because I know what it's like to be alone with power you don't understand. And I thought if I could find you, help you, maybe I could remember what it's like to be something other than just an alpha. Ella's heart stutters. Harvey, you make me feel human again, he says simply. Like I'm not just a weapon or a throne or a title. When I'm with you, I'm just myself. The confession hangs between them, intimate and terrifying. Ella steps closer, close enough that she can feel the heat radiating from his body. I don't know how to do this. Trust someone. Let someone in. I've been alone for so long. So have I. His hand comes up slowly, fingers threading through her hair. But maybe we don't have to be anymore. She should pull away. Should protect herself. Should remember that trusting someone always ends in betrayal. But she doesn't. Instead, she leans into his touch, and her voice comes out barely above a whisper. I'm scared. Of me? Of this. Of feeling something for someone who could destroy me. Harvey's expression softens into something achingly tender. I would never hurt you, Ella. I swear it. Everyone says that. And then they do. Then let me prove it. He leans down until his forehead rests against hers, and they're breathing the same air. Stay. Train with me. Let me help you master your power. And if at any point you want to leave, I won't stop you. But give me a chance to show you that not everyone is like the wolves who hurt you. Ella closes her eyes, feeling the warmth of him, the steadiness, the impossible pull between them that grows stronger every moment. I don't know if I can be what the prophecy needs, she admits. Then be what you need. The rest will follow. When she opens her eyes, He's watching her with such intensity it makes her breath catch. They're so close. His hand is in her hair. His lips are right there, and she knows that if she closes the distance, he'll meet her halfway. But the fear is still there, coiled tight in her chest. "Can I trust you?" she whispers. "Yes." No hesitation. Just certainty. "Can I trust myself?" His other hand comes up to cup her face, holding her gently. "You're the strongest person I've ever met. So yes, you can trust yourself too." The words settle into her bones, and for the first time in 3 years, Ella lets herself believe them. She doesn't close the distance. Not yet. But she doesn't pull away either. They stand together on the balcony, under the stars, and let the moment stretch, fragile and precious and full of possibility. And for tonight, that's enough. The morning arrives with deceptive peace. Ella wakes in Harvey's guest quarters. He'd insisted after she nearly fell asleep standing on the balcony. The bed smells like him, and she buries her face in the pillow for just a moment, letting herself pretend she's safe. Then reality crashes back. There's a gathering today. Harvey explained it last night. The Northern Realm holds a council every full moon where neighboring packs send representatives to discuss territory, trade, and politics. It's tradition, sacred, meant to maintain peace between the realms. And today, Shadow Pine Pack is sending delegates. Ella's stomach twists at the thought of facing wolves from her old pack. Of seeing the faces that called her broken, worthless, cursed. A knock at the door makes her jump. "It's Astrid," comes the voice. "Harvey sent me to help you prepare." Ella opens the door to find the fierce woman holding a bundle of clothing, formal attire in deep midnight blue with silver threading. "You're attending as Harvey's guest," Astrid explains, laying the clothes on the bed. "That means you represent the Northern Realm now. Hold your head high and remember, you're not the Omega they cast out anymore. You're the Silver Wolf who saved children and fought shadow beasts." "I'm still the same person." "No." Astrid meets her eyes. "You're not. And it's time you started believing that." The dress fits perfectly, hugging her curves before flowing to the floor. Astrid helps arrange her hair, pulling it back to expose the mark on her collarbone, prominently displayed, impossible to miss. "Let them see it," Astrid says. "Let them see what they tried to suppress." When Ella enters the great hall where the gathering is held, every conversation stops. The room is massive, filled with wolves from different packs, all dressed formally, all turning to stare at the Omega who walked in wearing Northern Realm colors with the Alpha King's second at her side. Harvey stands at the head of the room in full regalia, dark leather and silver clasps, a fur cloak across his shoulders, every inch the Alpha King. When he sees her, something flashes in his eyes that makes her skin warm. Then she sees them. The Shadow Pine delegation. 5 wolves, including Luna Catherine, whose cold beauty is as sharp as Ella remembers. And beside her, Ella's breath catches. Draven. Her childhood friend. The boy who'd promised to always stand by her, right up until the moment the pack declared her broken. Then he turned away like everyone else. He's staring at her now with an expression she can't read. "Let us begin," Harvey announces, his voice carrying. "We have much to discuss regarding the shadow beast attacks and increased rogue activity." The meeting proceeds with formal discussion of patrols, territory boundaries, resource sharing. Ella tries to focus, but she can feel Catherine's eyes boring into her, can feel the weight of Shadowpine's attention. Finally, Catherine speaks. "Alpha King Harvey, I must address something before we continue." Her voice is silk over steel. "I see you've taken in a criminal from my pack. One who was exiled for attempted murder." The room goes silent. Harvey's expression doesn't change, but Ella feels his power ripple outward, a warning. "Ella is under my protection as a member of the Northern Realm. Her past is no longer your concern." "But it is," Catherine continues smoothly. "You see, we've discovered new evidence. Evidence that proves her guilt beyond question." Ella's heart stops. Catherine produces a small vial, holding it up for everyone to see. "This was found in her cabin after her exile. It contains not just wolfsbane and nightshade, but something else, her blood, mixed into the poison as a binding agent. There's no question she created it herself. That's a lie, Ella says, her voice shaking. I never. We also have testimony. Catherine's smile is vicious. From someone who witnessed you preparing the poison. Someone who tried to stop you but feared for their own life. Draven steps forward. No. No. I saw her, he says, and his voice is steady, convincing. The night before the feast. She was grinding herbs in her cabin, muttering about making them pay. About showing them all. I tried to talk to her, but she threatened me. Said if I told anyone, she'd poison me too. The lie is so smooth, so perfectly delivered, that for a moment even Ella doubts herself. You're lying, she breathes. Draven, we were friends. You know I would never. Were we? He looks at her, and his eyes are cold. Or did you just use me? Like you're using the Alpha King now. The accusation hits like a physical blow. That's enough, Harvey growls, moving to stand beside Ella. This is clearly fabricated. Is it? Garrick's voice comes from behind them. The council member who'd questioned her before stands with several other Northern Realm wolves. Alpha King, perhaps we should consider that Shadowpine may be telling the truth. After all, we only have her word that she's innocent. Ella feels the room turning against her. Sees doubt creeping into faces that had started to accept her. The mark, Catherine says, gesturing to Ella's collarbone. We've consulted with our own elders. They say it's not the sign of royal bloodline at all. It's a curse mark, given to wolves who are touched by dark magic. Wolves who are dangerous. That's insane, Astrid snaps. She opened the shrine of First Moon. Only the First Daughter's true heir could. Or, Catherine interrupts, someone with enough dark power to force their way in. To corrupt something sacred. She looks directly at Ella. Tell me, girl. When you shifted for the first time, didn't it feel wrong? Too easy? Like something dark was flowing through you. And God's help her, it had felt strange. Different from what others described. The doubt must show on her face, because Catherine's smile widens. She's dangerous, Catherine announces to the room. A wolf corrupted by dark magic, likely working with whoever is sending the shadow beasts. And she's deceived your Alpha King into protecting her. She turns to Harvey. I call for her immediate arrest and trial under pack law. The room erupts into shouting. Some wolves agreeing, others protesting, and Ella stands frozen in the center of it all as her world crumbles. Harvey's hand finds hers, gripping tight. I won't let them take you. Maybe you should. Her voice breaks. Maybe they're right. Maybe I am dangerous. No. He turns to face her fully, and his eyes are blazing. Don't let them make you doubt yourself. Everything Catherine is saying is lies designed to turn us against each other. But the evidence can be fabricated. Draven can be bought or threatened. I know you, Ella. I've seen your heart. You're not capable of this. His certainty should comfort her. Instead, it terrifies her. Because what if he's wrong? What if there's something dark inside her that she doesn't understand? The mark on her collarbone begins to burn, and not with the usual heat. This is different. Wrong. Like something responding to Catherine's accusations. Alpha King, Garrick says heavily. In the interest of peace between packs, perhaps we should at least investigate these claims. No. Harvey's power floods the room, making wolves cringe. I am Alpha King of the Northern Realm, and Ella is under my protection. That is final. Even if it costs you alliances? Catherine asks softly. Even if it means war? The threat hangs in the air. Harvey hesitates, just for a second, just a heartbeat, but Ella sees it. And that tiny moment of doubt shatters something inside her. He's choosing between her and his people. And she knows how that choice has to end. It's okay, she says quietly, pulling her hand from his. You don't have to defend me. Ella, they're right to be afraid. She looks around the room, meeting the eyes of wolves who see her as a threat. I don't understand my power. I don't know where it comes from or what it might do. Maybe I am dangerous. Stop, Harvey says, his voice rough. But she can't. The words keep coming, 3 years of self-doubt pouring out. Maybe I did poison that boy and just don't remember. Maybe the dark magic corrupted me and I didn't even know. Maybe bringing me here was a mistake. Silver light explodes from her body. Not the controlled power from before. This is raw, chaotic, responding to her spiraling emotions. It blasts outward, shattering windows, cracking stone, sending wolves scrambling. And in the chaos, Ella sees her chance. She runs. Shifts mid-stride into her silver wolf and bolts from the hall, ignoring Harvey's shout, ignoring Astrid's cry, ignoring everything except the desperate need to escape. She crashes through doors, down corridors, out into the forest. Running the way she's always run, because running is the only thing she's ever been good at. Behind her, she hears pursuit. Hears Harvey calling her name. But she doesn't stop. Because maybe Catherine was right. Maybe she is corrupted. Maybe she's the real threat. And maybe the only way to protect everyone, even Harvey, is to disappear. The mark burns like fire as she runs deeper into the forest, and her wolf howls with grief and rage and bitter, terrible understanding. She was starting to trust. Starting to hope. And once again, it's all been torn away. Ella runs until her wolf's legs give out. She collapses in a clearing deep in the forest, shifting back to human form, her body shaking with exhaustion, and something darker, despair so deep it threatens to swallow her whole. The dress Astrid gave her is torn and mud-stained. Her feet are bleeding, and the mark on her collarbone burns with such intensity she can barely breathe. She presses her face into the cold earth and lets herself break. Sobs tear from her throat, raw, ugly sounds that echo through the empty forest. 3 years of pain, of rejection, of believing she was worthless, all culminating in this moment. She'd finally found somewhere she might belong, someone who saw her as more than broken, and it was ripped away in an instant. Because she let herself hope. Because she let herself trust. Stupid, she gasps against the ground. So stupid to believe. A twig snaps. Ella's head jerks up, her wolf surging to alertness despite the exhaustion. She scrambles to her feet, backing against a tree. Draven steps into the clearing. He's alone, in human form, his hands raised in a gesture of peace. But Ella knows better than to trust those hands. Those were the hands that held hers when they were children. Those were the hands that let go when she needed them most. "Stay away from me," she snarls. "Ella, please. I need to talk to you. You said enough back there. Your lies were very convincing." Pain flashes across his face. They weren't lies. Not all of them. Her breath catches. "What?" Draven moves closer, and in the moonlight, she can see he's trembling. "I did see you that night. In your cabin. But you weren't making poison. You were crying. Holding a vial someone had planted there, trying to figure out what to do." The memory slams back, hazy, like looking through fog. She'd found the vial tucked behind her herb stores. Had held it up to the light, confused, scared. And then, "Someone knocked me out," she whispers. "I remember now. I heard footsteps, and then everything went dark." "It was Luna Catherine," Draven says, his voice breaking. "She's been planning this for months. Ever since she realized what your mark really meant. She couldn't have a potential rival in the pack, couldn't risk you awakening and challenging her position. So she framed you. And she forced me to corroborate her story." "Forced you how?" "My sister." His hands clench into fists. "Catherine has her. Said if I didn't testify against you, if I didn't help convince the Northern Realm you were dangerous, she'd kill her." Slowly. Ella stares at him, trying to process. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because I'm a coward, but I'm not a monster." Draven's eyes are wet. "And because Catherine isn't done. The testimony was just the beginning." "What do you mean?" "She's planning an attack. Tonight. While the Northern Realm is in chaos, while their Alpha King is distracted trying to find you, she's going to strike. Shadow beasts, rogues, wolves from 3 different packs she's secretly allied with. They're going to destroy Harvey's compound, kill his people, and make it look like it was your doing, like you led them here. Horror floods through Ella's veins, cold and sharp. No. No, I have to warn them. There's more. Draven grabs her arm as she tries to move past him. Catherine knows about the prophecy. The real prophecy. Not the version she told the council. She knows that if you fully awaken your power at the sight of ancient magic during a blood moon, he points up at the sky, where the moon is beginning to turn red, you'll become unstoppable. She's going to force you there. Use your friends as bait. Make you choose between saving them and completing your transformation. That's insane. Why would she think I'd go? Because she knows you care about them now. About Harvey. About the Northern Realm. His grip tightens. She's counting on you being too weak to make the hard choice. Counting on you trying to save everyone and getting yourself killed in the process. Ella pulls free, her mind racing. Everything is happening too fast, spiraling out of control. But one thing is crystal clear, Harvey and his pack are in danger because of her. Where's the attack happening? The compound. But the ritual site, the place where Catherine wants to trap you, that's at the ancient altar. 3 miles north of here. The altar. Where the moon's heart had shown her visions of her destiny. I have to go back, Ella says. Warn Harvey. You won't make it in time. Catherine's forces are already moving. Draven's expression turns desperate. But if you go to the altar, if you face her there, maybe you can draw her away from the compound. Give Harvey a chance to defend his people. It's a trap. Obviously a trap. But what choice does she have? The mark on her collarbone pulses with heat, and deep inside, her wolf stirs with something that feels like certainty. Go back to the compound, Ella tells Draven. Find Harvey. Tell him everything. Tell him, her voice catches. Tell him I'm sorry. For doubting him. For running. Ella, you can't face Catherine alone. I'm not alone. She places her hand over the mark, and silver light flickers beneath her palm. I never was. She shifts before he can argue, her silver wolf emerging in a flash of light and power. Then she's running, faster than before, the forest blurring around her as she races toward the ancient altar. Toward her destiny. Toward the choice that will define everything. The blood moon rises higher, painting the world in shades of crimson, and Ella feels her power building with each step. The prophecy said she would either unite the packs or destroy them. Tonight, she'll find out which. She reaches the altar as the moon reaches its peak. The sacred site is transformed. Dark magic crackles in the air, making her first stand on end. Shadow beasts circle the perimeter, dozens of them, more than she's ever seen. And at the altar's center stands Luna Catherine, flanked by rogues and wolves from other packs, all marked with symbols that glow sickly green. Dark magic. Catherine has been wielding dark magic. But that's not what makes Ella's heart stop. Harvey is there. He's on his knees, silver chains wrapped around his wrists and throat, chains that pulse with dark energy, suppressing his power. Blood runs from a cut on his temple. Astrid is beside him, similarly bound, along with 5 other Northern Realm wolves. They used Draven's information to capture them. Catherine knew she would send him back. There you are, Catherine calls out, her voice echoing across the clearing. The little Omega who thought she could be something more. Ella shifts to human form, standing naked and defiant at the edge of the altar's light. Let them go. This is between us. Catherine laughs. Oh, darling. This was never just between us. This is about power. About destiny. About making sure the right wolves rule. She gestures to the blood moon above. You could have been extraordinary. But you're too weak. Too human. You care too much. Ella, don't listen to her. Harvey shouts, straining against the chains. It's a trap. A rogue hits him across the face, silencing him. Rage explodes through Ella, white-hot and consuming. Her wolf snarls, pushing at her skin, demanding release. Here's how this works, Catherine continues calmly. You have a choice. Walk away now, abandon these wolves, and I'll let you live. Stay small. Stay weak. Stay nobody. Or, she produces a dagger, pressing it to Astrid's throat. Try to be a hero. Try to save them. And watch as I kill them one by one while you're too powerless to stop me. There's a third option, Ella says quietly. Oh? And what's that? I stop being afraid. The mark on her collarbone explodes with light. Not the flickering, uncertain power from before. This is absolute. The silver fire that pours from her skin is so bright it turns night into day, so hot it makes the shadow beast scream and dissolve. The chains binding Harvey and the others shatter like glass. Ella walks forward, and with each step, her power grows. She can feel her wolf rising, merging with her human consciousness instead of replacing it. Can feel the blood of the first daughter singing in her veins. Can feel the earth itself responding to her presence. You want to know what I am? Her voice echoes with ancient power. I'm not an Omega. I'm not weak. I'm not broken. She spreads her arms, and silver flames dance along her skin. I am the moon's daughter, the last heir of the original bloodline. And I am done letting fear control me. Catherine's confidence wavers. Kill her, she screams at her forces. They try. Rogues lunge. Shadow beasts attack. Dark magic slams toward her in waves. And Ella destroys them all. She doesn't shift fully into her wolf. Instead, she becomes something between human form wrapped in silver fur and flame, her eyes blazing white silver, her power absolute. She moves through Catherine's forces like a storm, each touch dissolving shadow beasts, each word of command dropping rogues to their knees in submission. This is what the prophecy meant. This is what she was always meant to become. Catherine backs away, her confidence crumbling into fear. No, this isn't possible. You're supposed to be weak. I was never weak. Ella stalks toward her, power crackling with each step. You just convinced me I was. But I'm done believing your lies. She reaches Catherine, and the Luna drops to her knees, compelled by power older than pack law. Please, Catherine whispers. Mercy. Did you show me mercy? Ella's voice is cold. Did you show mercy to the boy you poisoned and blamed me for? To Draven's sister? To everyone you've manipulated and hurt? I was protecting my pack. You were protecting your power. Ella places her hand on Catherine's head, and silver light flows into the Luna, forcing truth. Now you'll confess. Everything. Every lie. Every manipulation. Every alliance with dark forces. And then you'll face justice. The compulsion is absolute. Catherine begins speaking, her voice hollow, confessing crimes that make even the rogues around them back away in horror. Ella turns to Harvey, who's standing now, staring at her with an expression of awe and something deeper. Are you all right? She asks, her voice softer. Am I? He laughs, slightly unhinged. You just took down an army single-handedly and you're asking if I'm all right? Yes. He crosses to her in 3 strides and pulls her into his arms, holding her so tightly she can barely breathe. You're incredible, he murmurs against her hair. Terrifying and incredible. I'm still me, she whispers back. I know. He pulls back just enough to look at her, and his eyes are blazing gold. But now you know it too. Around them, the surviving rogues are fleeing. The shadow beasts are gone. And Catherine kneels in silver chains of Ella's own making, her confession echoing across the clearing. But in the distance, Ella hears howls. More forces coming. The battle isn't over. We need to get back to the compound, Astrid says, already moving. If Draven was right, there's still an attack coming. Harvey looks at Ella. Can you? Yes. She closes her eyes, feeling the full extent of her power for the first time. I can protect them. All of them. She shifts then, fully, into her true form. The silver wolf that emerges is massive, larger even than Harvey's alpha form, with fur that glows like moonlight and eyes that hold the wisdom of ages. She throws back her head and howls, and the sound carries across the entire northern realm. A call to arms. A promise of protection. An announcement that the silver wolf has awakened. And she is done hiding. They reach the compound as the attack begins. Catherine's allied forces pour through the breached wards, hundreds of rogues, shadow beasts, wolves corrupted by dark magic. The Northern Realm's defenses buckle under the assault, and Ella can see wolves falling, can hear the screams of the innocent. She doesn't hesitate. Silver fire explodes from her in a shockwave that ripples across the entire battlefield. Every shadow beast caught in its wake dissolves instantly. Every rogue finds themselves frozen, compelled to stillness by power they can't resist. The corrupted wolves collapse, the dark magic burned from their systems. Ella stands at the compound's entrance in her true form, a living barrier between the attack and the innocent, and her voice echoes with ancient authority when she speaks. Enough. The word carries absolute command. Every wolf on the battlefield, enemy and ally alike, drops to their knees. Even the strongest alphas among the attackers find themselves bowing, their wolves recognizing something primal and undeniable. The heir of the first daughter has awakened, and she will not allow this slaughter. You came here seeking death and destruction, Ella continues, her voice resonating with power. You followed a false Luna who traded pack loyalty for dark magic, who poisoned the innocent and blamed the weak, who would have burned this realm to ash to protect her own power. She moves forward, and the silver light emanating from her fur illuminates every face. But I am not her. I am not interested in revenge or domination. She looks at each fallen wolf, at the fear and confusion and dawning understanding in their eyes. I am interested in something the packs have forgotten: unity. We are stronger together than divided. And if you will lay down your hatred, your prejudice, your need to tear each other apart, I will show you what we could become. Silence falls across the battlefield. Then, one by one, the wolves who came as enemies lower their eyes in submission. Not out of fear, though there is fear, but out of recognition. Out of the deep, instinctive knowledge that they stand before something sacred. Harvey shifts to human form beside her, his presence a steady anchor. The Northern Realm offers sanctuary to any wolf who wishes to abandon the old ways and embrace peace. But those who choose continued violence will face justice. It's not immediate. It takes hours to sort through the aftermath, identifying the corrupted wolves who can be saved, the rogues who were coerced, the leaders who knowingly followed Catherine's dark path. But slowly, impossibly, order emerges from chaos. By dawn, the compound is secure. Catherine and her true co-conspirators are imprisoned. And hundreds of wolves from different packs stand in the Northern Realm's Great Hall, waiting to hear what comes next. Ella shifts back to human form, and someone, Astrid, wraps a cloak around her shoulders. She's exhausted, swaying on her feet, but she forces herself to stand tall as she addresses the gathered wolves. I didn't ask for this power, she says quietly. I didn't ask to be part of some ancient prophecy or to carry the weight of your futures. 3 days ago, I was nobody. An Omega declared broken and worthless, exiled to die in a cursed forest. And part of me still feels like that girl, scared, alone, certain she doesn't deserve anything good. She looks around the hall, meeting eyes both familiar and strange. But I've learned something these past days. Being powerful doesn't mean being fearless. It means choosing to act despite the fear. Choosing to protect even when it costs you. Choosing to hope even after everything and everyone has tried to convince you that hope is foolish. Her voice strengthens. So here's what I'm choosing. I choose to use this power to protect, not to dominate. To unite, not to divide. To build something better than the broken system that let wolves like Catherine thrive. She glances at Harvey, who's watching her with such pride it makes her chest tight. The Northern Realm is offering sanctuary and a new beginning to any wolf who wants it. But it won't be easy. Change never is. We'll have to confront our prejudices, our pack hierarchies, our belief that might makes right. We'll have to become something better. And if we refuse, someone calls out. Ella's expression turns grave. Then you're free to leave. But know this. The old ways are ending. The shadow beasts, the dark magic, the corruption, it's all connected to the fracturing of the original pack structure. We've spent centuries tearing each other apart, and now something ancient and hungry is feeding on that division. If we don't unite, we all fall. It's that simple. The weight of her words settles over the crowd. Harvey steps forward, his hand finding hers. The choice is yours. But choose wisely. Because history will remember this moment. The night the Silver Wolf awakened and offered a chance for redemption. One by one, wolves begin to kneel in acceptance. Not submission. Alliance. It's not everyone. Some leave, unwilling to abandon the old hierarchies. But enough stay, enough believe, that Ella can feel something fundamental shifting in the air. A new beginning. As the sun rises fully, painting the hall in shades of gold and silver, Ella finally allows herself to lean into Harvey's solid warmth. He wraps his arm around her, and she hears him whisper, "You did it." "We're not done," she murmurs back. "This is just the beginning." "I know. But look what you've already accomplished." His lips brush her temple. "You've given them hope. Given all of us hope." Hope. Such a small word for such an enormous feeling. Ella closes her eyes, feeling the mark on her collarbone pulse with steady, certain warmth. Her wolf settles contentedly in her chest, no longer sleeping or suppressed, but integrated, a part of her that makes her whole. She's not broken. She never was. And maybe, just maybe, she's exactly who she was always meant to be. The compound quiets as wolves disperse to rest and process. Ella finds herself back on Harvey's balcony, watching the realms spread out below in morning light. "What are you thinking?" Harvey asks, joining her. "That I'm terrified," she admits. "They're looking to me like I have all the answers, and I barely understand the questions." "You don't have to have all the answers." He turns her to face him, his hands warm on her shoulders. "You just have to keep choosing to try. The rest of us will figure it out together." Together. There's that word again. "What happens now?" Ella asks. "With us." Harvey's expression softens into something vulnerable. "That depends. Do you trust me yet?" She thinks about everything they've been through. His steady presence. His unwavering faith in her. The way he held her when she was breaking and fought for her when the world turned against her. "Yes," she says quietly. "I trust you." "Then stay." His voice is rough with emotion. Not because of prophecy or duty or power. Stay because he stops, jaw clenching. Because why? Because when I'm with you, I remember what it's like to feel. To hope. To be more than just an alpha. His gold eyes burn into hers. Because I'm falling in love with you, Ella. And I think you might be falling too. Her breath catches. Love. The most terrifying thing of all. "I'm a mess," she whispers. "I'm still figuring out who I am, what I want. So we'll figure it out together." He cups her face gently. "I'm not asking for forever. Just for today. And then tomorrow. And we'll see where it leads." Ella stares at him, this powerful alpha king who's offering her not just protection or alliance, but something infinitely more precious. A choice. A partnership. A chance to build something real. "I'm scared," she admits. "So am I." He smiles slightly. "Love is terrifying. But I think it might be worth it." She rises on her toes and kisses him, soft and tentative at first, then deeper as his arms close around her. It's not perfect. Nothing is. But it's real and warm and full of possibility. When they pull apart, both breathing hard, Harvey rests his forehead against hers. "Stay," he murmurs again. And this time, Ella doesn't run. "I'll stay," she whispers. Not because she has all the answers. Not because she's stopped being afraid. But because she's finally learned that being strong doesn't mean being fearless. It means choosing to hope. It means choosing to love. It means choosing to believe that maybe, just maybe, broken things can be made whole again. So here's the question I leave you with, friend. Would you have chosen her side? When the world called her broken and worthless, when even she believed the lies, would you have seen what Harvey saw? Would you have fought for her? Or would you have been one of the wolves who looked away, who decided she was too risky, too complicated, too damaged to deserve a chance? We all like to think we'd be the hero in someone else's story. But the truth is harder. Messier. It requires seeing past fear to the person underneath. It requires believing in potential even when all the evidence suggests failure. Ella's journey isn't over. There are still shadow beasts to fight, corrupted pacts to heal, and a prophecy whose full meaning remains unclear. But she's no longer the scared Omega running through a cursed forest. She's the Silver Wolf, the heir of the first daughter, the one who chose hope over fear. And her story, this story of transformation and power and love found in the unlikeliest places, is just beginning. If this tale lit something inside you, if you felt Ella's pain and triumphed in her awakening, if you want to hear more stories about wolves who refuse to be broken, subscribe to Cindy's Wolfheart Stories. Because here, we don't just tell stories about powerful wolves. We tell stories about the power of believing in yourself when no one else will. About finding love in the darkness. About becoming who you were always meant to be. We tell tales that burn. And this was just the beginning.